Welcome to the CDO Magazine's Women's History Month series, and a very happy History Month to all of you who are here and listening. I'm Asha Saxena, CEO of Women Leaders in Data and AI, where world leaders come together to advance the mission to create a fair world, digital world with parity and equity. And I think it is a responsibility of each one of us who are in the digital data, tech, and AI world as we are creating history in our own way. So today, we are honored to have a dear friend appear and also will the member Bharathi Rajan, VP, Enterprise Data and Application with Swire Coca-Cola. Bharathi, welcome to the show.
Hi, Asha. Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, and I think Women's History Month is such a special month because it's truly paying tribute to not only the women who've created history, but also the women who are creating history in today's generation and for the future generation to come. It should be every day when we are celebrating our women leaders, our women peers, our women in our family and friend circle. But I think it is so nice to have a month where we can dedicate and really honor these women who've really made a difference in the history and are making the difference in today's world. And as we talk about this special month and talk about Women's History Month, I also want to talk about all the women, and I have to say the women I know, and I with this organization I get to know more and more women now. I think when we were working in our world, in our bubble, we were very few, but it's so nice to come out of our bubble and meet all these women who are doing such great work in their own industry and making a mark. So super happy to talk about what we are doing in data and AI. And with that, 2023 was such a great year. Generative AI, the large language model revolution that made all of us popular among our friends and family. And everybody was talking to us about what they can do with AI and what it really is. So talk to me a little bit about first of all, are you using AI? What are you using AI for? And what is your personal favorite tool?
Sure. First, thank you again for inviting me. I think this is a great opportunity, like you said, celebrating Women's History Month, dedicating it to women who've been before us, after us, presently, as we are all trying to make sure we create a diverse but an equitable world for the future generations. I think is so important. And being out in the forefront doing this is great, so I'm excited about it. Am I using AI? Yes, absolutely. There is just so much. AI is in everyday life. It's like using a computer several decades ago, right? If you're not using AI, there's something, excuse me, what's going on. I remember a friend of mine, she was not using it. I'm like, wait, what is wrong with you? Why aren't you using it? And then she started using it. And she's like, oh my God, this is a game changer for me. I'm like, yes. And so it's embedded in our lives. It's in our DNA today to use any application, anything that we're using AI in, whether that's personal work, anywhere you go, AI is there. Um, my personally, the AI app that I use on a day-to-day basis at work is Microsoft Copilot. We've had it for a while now, so anything and everything, it's the first thing that we go and use it for PowerPoint, for Excel, for anything, really. Even summarizing my emails, there are email threads. It just summarizes it so efficiently. I think the biggest benefit that I have seen is joining a meeting and then Copilot is there, is like, hey, you've joined 5 minutes late. Can I summarize that for you? I'm like, this is great. Thank you. Yes. And then, it takes automatic notes. I'm not there in my leader meeting. It just summarizes everything that my team has talked about and then sends out a summary for me. So I've really enjoyed that. On the personal front, again, it's ChatGPT. Really, honestly, that's something that I've continued to use in my personal life. It gives me directions, to go somewhere or even to cook. It's like, hey, here are the ingredients now. Tell me what I can cook. And so it's fun things that you can get to do. I know my kids use it all the time. So yeah, those are my two apps that I really go to.
Yeah, they say the kids probably learn about technology faster than the adults do. They know
Yes.
more about technology than we do, and they are so quick. My God.
Yes. I think my son was on ChatGPT much before I was and was so much more proficient with it right now, or is, versus I am. Like sometimes I have to ask him, "Hey, what do you do with this? How do you try to get this perfect answer?" And he's able to do that in much faster than I would. One quick on talking about ChatGPT, I did use it to bring up a name for our multicultural inclusion network that we're starting at Swire, and so that was really cool. I gave it really uh, gave it parameters that I needed it to think through, and it came up with a name that actually is going to resonate with everyone. So I'm excited about the reveal. It's going to happen in a couple of months now. I'm excited about that.
Oh, congratulations. First of all, I mean, starting a new network within your organization that has a purpose or a mission behind it, I think is gives meaning to everybody who's working there. So that's amazing. That's great. And I agree. I think we are all not branding experts and we're not all marketing experts. So have ChatGPT do multi-purpose work for us is
Yes.
really good.
Yeah.
I mean, I've used it for travel itineraries. Like, tell me I'm going here, tell me what I can do, or so
Mhm.
that's and a lot of really crazy use cases you hear about, which you say, that's a great idea for us to use ChatGPT for. But tell me a little bit about your work life. What are you working? What is your role, and what is the most interesting project you're working on right now?
Sure. So I lead enterprise data and applications at Swire. So, or Swire Coca-Cola USA. I have to be specific about it. My role is focused on data. So everything related to data, from data strategy to data governance, data engineering, application development, systems and data architecture process, and forecasting and budget planning process. To strategy around Power Platforms, because that's our tool of choice. Technology strategy for the business. So I'm involved in anything and everything that's technology related at the company today. I'm excited because it gives me a window into what is really going on across the different aspects of business and how we can use technology to help. And so I really do enjoy my role here. As to what fun part I'm working on, there's just so much going on in any given month or a quarter here. But for me, the most exciting is we're starting to look at how do we expand technology products, as in, or data products within the company. Right. So having a strategy and a vision around it is what I'm excited about, because that's going to then take Swire to the next level of how we're going to use data to then commercialize or even make data as a product. What does it really mean? Do we want to go there? So that's the strategy that I'm working on currently. And it really excites me for the future, honestly.
I have to say that data leaders are the protagonists now in every organization because they are the main character. Because everybody wants a data. Either if you want to beat up someone, they go to the data leader, or
Yes.
they want something, they go to the data leader. They want something created, and they want to really make the
Yep.
relationship better with the data leaders because they want something out of it. So I think the role of the data is at a very critical point, especially as we are building AI application, because you have a bad data, the output will be bad. If the bad data is not clean or trustworthy, AI models won't work effectively. So talk to me a little bit about, as the leaders are thinking about AI or the applications, or launching or implementing applications around AI, why and what they should be thinking about. Why should they be thinking about data so much, and what should they be thinking about to make sure that their initiatives are successful?
Great questions. Data is foundational. I don't think people realize the amount of data that we generate, whether it's shopping at Amazon or even just a telephone conversation can be turned into data. People don't realize the amount of, so data is foundational anywhere you go. To do anything, if you don't have the right data available at the right time, you're not going to be able to do anything. So foundations, data foundations are critical. What do I mean by data foundations? Bringing the right data in. having trustworthy data, which includes data accuracy, data quality, right? And also making sure it's available at the right time. If I get data and it's right and it's compliant and it makes sense, but if it's not available for insights generation at the right time, I'm at a loss. The business cannot function. So to me, those are critical aspects of having a really strong data foundation to build AI, to build any sort of insights or business insights or anything that we're going to do with data, or even data as a product. Having governance, having which includes data quality, accuracy, and then having the right data, bringing in the right data is critical.
When you talk about data, people do get scared of data. They say, it's too much. I don't know where to start from, or even I'm collecting the right data. Within my organization, I always wonder, do we have the right data that we need, or should we be thinking about more strategically, what data do we really need to solve the business problems? And you hear so much about governance is important and who owns the data and how you define the data. But you also hear a lot of struggles with governance program, and the struggle is real, because we too many chefs in the kitchen trying to cook the meal, and it's always lands up getting uncooked. So what have you seen that has worked? What are the best practices as a data governance leader an organization should be thinking about? And they might not have a governance leader. It might be a role that has been split between multiple people, or they don't know who should be.
Mm-hmm.
So give us some tips and tricks of making a data governance program work.
So in my experience, data governance takes time to establish in a company. Just like AI and the products cannot be built overnight, or any product cannot be built overnight, data governance is a commitment, right? It needs to be top down and bottom up approach. Everyone needs to be brought into the program, but it also takes time. So I'll tell you my journey currently. It took us about a year and a half to establish the program, to get the foundation laid on, and then having your C-suite just agree to it and say, yes, this is what we want. Yes, we agree to this, and then propagate that down to the teams. And then it's for the teams to start getting involved in saying, okay, yes, we are going to be your data stewards. We are going to be your data champions. So having the business excited about, yes, this is needed as an organization, but also coming together, because it cannot be done in silo. Any of this work we cannot. So it's the buy-in from your executive team. The second is making that, creating that enthusiasm and that awareness of how critical data is, and that quality and the governance around it, and getting people to commit to it, saying, yes, it's a journey and we're committed to actually getting this online, I think is the biggest challenge. If you have the support and people are interested and people are all bought into it, you can get it stood up and you can move on. And so we're in a year and a half. So this is 1 year journey today. And I can tell you, it was a struggle. The first year was a struggle, but people are brought in and people are excited about it. And we're starting to see, even in the first 2 months of this year, we've started to see so many changes just because of the foundations that we laid about a year ago.
A great story which I heard with one of the clients I worked with, and the CDO was telling me that what he had to do was actually create a tangible dollar amount or a fear among the senior leadership to get the buy-in. And sometimes, can I say, if you don't do it, these are the penalties. If you don't
Yep.
watch out for the data governance or the data initiatives, uh, due to regulation, you're going to get fined for not having the data correct. So I think as long as you have some kind of a business outcome that impacts, your strategy or your business, use what you need to use to create the buy-in. But you need the executive buy-in to have these initiatives be successful. And when we think about everybody wants to do AI projects, and
Mm.
if it's business or if it's technology, AI initiatives are getting launched in every single company at all different levels. But when we think about the team, I constantly hear from our members, we need to make sure that our team is we are building the right team within the organization. the structure has to be right. Should we be going out and hiring data scientists, or should we be thinking about data analysts, or should we be thinking about data engineers? So what should a AI team, as you're launching your AI functional areas, what should be the right team structure, and where should the emphasis be?
Great question. I think it depends on the organization, honestly, right? But to me, I think it's a combination of data engineers, data analysts, data scientists, right? What are you trying to do as an organization? If you're committed to building AI products and you're committed in that AI journey, your three most critical team members are going to be your full stack engineer, or a data engineer who is also can also do the full stack engineering. You have your data analyst, or your data governance analyst, I would say, someone who can understand the data, takes time to understand the data and be able to help your data engineer, your full stack engineer, or your data scientist. And the data scientist, I think they're so important. All these three coming together and understanding what that remit is going to look like for them is the most important, I think, of the roles. I would say BI analyst is important. I'd say a scrum master, but your critical components of what's going to drive the products at the end of the day, it's going to be your three roles: data engineer, data governance analyst, and your data scientist.
When you talk about the teams and you're building the AI life cycle of
Mhm,
building applications, um, it becomes really critical that we are, and people are talking about responsible and ethical AI constantly.
mhm,
You people asking for federal government to get involved, and the executive order was good, but it's not enforced. So how
mhm,
does the organization really think about responsible and ethical AI? And I think there I want to touch upon which something that I care passionately about is the biases. If it's
mhm,
gender bias or ethical bias or consumer biases, right? So the biases are going to be in the model, and we talk when we build a model, we are looking at what the biases are.
mhm,
So, as we think about building our team, as we think about having the diverse group of people or thoughts or sources or data sources, or processes or frameworks, what do you see? How does the role of uh, being ethical and responsible as you build AI plays in organization? And a lot of companies don't even have that role.
mhm. We
So
don't have that role. Honestly, that's not something that anyone has really thought through as to what are the implications. I think I've talked about this before as well in terms of governance and how important ethical AI is going to be in organizations. As we mature and as we have more and more AI products, that's one thing that we've got to keep an eye out on. One of the roles that I didn't specify, but I think is equally important, is a product owner, right? So in this day and age, as we're building these products, you're the one person who should know the product and should also be thinking about these biases is your product owner, right? If they don't understand the product and they don't see here the things that I should be accounting for, that product may have biases, inherent biases, whether it's consumer, gender, race, whatever you want, ethnicity, anything, right? Any of those biases can be included. So your product owner is absolutely critical to understanding, hey, how do I make sure if there is bias, how do we account for it? What are the things that we should be thinking about? They should be at the forefront. But as an organization, as an enterprise wide, there is absolutely a need at the enterprise level to have AI governance. And that, to me, I think that flows through again from a governance standpoint. How are we starting to include? What are the things that we should be looking at from a governance standpoint, whether it's just ethics or is there, what else do I need to think through? But that again flows under the governance umbrella. And again, everyone in the organization, in the enterprise, needs to be brought in. To me, if a governance program does not exist, it's harder for us to get even an AI ethical program or an ethics policy in place. But if there is a governance program established and people understand it, bringing that in is much easier. So there are two steps to this.
an excellent point, and I think that brings me to that. I truly believe that it's not just the tech leaders or
Yes.
the product leaders role. to make sure that we are practicing the right methodologies and right, frameworks to encompass ethical and responsible AI. Even if you don't have a functional area, it depends upon the people who execute. Somebody, uh, I was talking to somebody at a conference, and I said, AI is like a child. You reinforce behavior, a certain behavior.
Yes.
So if you're not monitoring what you're saying or what you're inputting, or what kind of reinforcement you're giving to the model, the output is going to be, responding to what you're feeding in. So it becomes
Yes.
so important that we all treat this model as a child and teach the model good behavior as good, and become a good citizen, so that we don't have those worries that, we when the whole AI buzz started, we had Elon Musk saying, let's stop, pause AI, because there's a lot to fear for.
Yeah.
And I think if we all take it responsibly and march forward, it becomes really, really critical.
Agreed. And I think that's a great analogy. Reinforcing behavior is so important. And yes, as we're cognizant, we're thinking about it, we will be doing it. If you're not thinking about it, we're not going to be moving forward with it. So
And I want to talk about the role of a woman. I've been in technology field for 30 years, and I'm sure, Bharti, we there are many times we are the only women in the room with our technology peers, and we don't think about it. We are
yeah,
not in the phase where we're not worried about it. Sometimes our voices are heard, sometimes they're not, and we are okay with it because we know how to continue marching ahead no matter what the roadblocks are. But I think it became a issue for me when I was writing my book during the pandemic, because what I realized is that we're collecting data faster than ever before, and the biases are going to be highlighted,
mhm,
more and more now. And it is so important that we actually do something about it. We all have to come together. And that's why I think we kind of, the month of March, we had this big campaign saying world leaders need to come together to advance the women leaders in data and AI. It's not just a mission for women to worry about it, it's a mission of the world leaders, men, women, all ethnicities have to come together to say that we want to make sure that there's diversity. There's diversity at all levels, and women have a place in the senior leadership role. We should not have, executive leaders where we don't have women representation, because what we are building and creating for the future, women are playing a big role and big part. How do you see women playing a role in the age of AI now?
I think you're right. Before it used to be fewer women. Even sometimes now, as leaders, we tend to be alone in some of these meetings. There's no other women. I think from a women's role perspective, I would say we bring so much more perspective into everything we do because of who we are in general, right? We're a mom, a sister, a wife, a friend. There's just so much that we bring into these into the role and to everything that we do. There's always a different perspective. I've always I go back and I listen to some of my conversations. I'm like, that's interesting, that I brought that up, and or I heard another woman bring up something, and that it just is so interesting because I think women do that so gracefully, so beautifully that that's the biggest thing. If you have women leaders sitting, have that table, have the seat at the table, they bring such diverse perspectives. It's just going to make the world a much better place, right? It's not just about data, AI, technology. I think having a women at as a leader and giving her a seat at the table, making sure she has a seat at the table, is just going to change how we look at things and just make things much better place. I would say the world a much better place.
They say that you educate one woman, you educate the community, because the woman goes out and makes sure that the community is progressing. Uh,
Yes.
and there's so many research and facts around that woman builds a community. And I think that's why the women need to be on the boards. And it's important that the women
Yes.
do have the C-suite role. And that's why I think the women leaders, our organization, focuses on making sure that the senior leaders are coming together to create this change or create this movement or the mission, because just me and you, Bharati, can't do it. We
Yeah.
need to make sure that the world leaders are coming together to create this change and really have an impact,
Mhm.
build the future more cognizantly, more consciously, and do
Yes.
the right thing. And I think being data and AI leaders now, we've been in the data field forever, but now as we transition to really emerging technologies, I mean, AI, we're going to have quantum computing, the technology is just going to evolve faster than ever
Mhm.
coming years. So it becomes really important that we, as digital data tech leaders, are really conscious now and making sure that we are doing the right thing, bringing the right people in the room, and celebrate the Women's History Month, and make sure that we all go out and dedicate this to someone we care about. And as when you talk about dedication, I would love to hear, who would you want to dedicate this Women's History Month to? Could be someone personal, or could be someone at work, but I would love to hear, who would that be?
Actually, I would dedicate it to more than one person, but my mom, obviously, I think she's no more with us. But the fact is, she's empowered me throughout her life to go and do whatever I think was the right thing to do, and that has helped me where I am today. But I also think women leaders, right? The leaders, I have a women leader currently, I have had previously, they have nurtured and helped me grow who I am today as well from a professional standpoint. So I really would like to dedicate it to them as well. So those are the people that I want to dedicate it to,
I
and
have
to all the women, right? All the women who are trying and going forward, and they're succeeding, or they're learning from where they've failed. I dedicate it to all of them.
I love that, because every single episode we've had, every guest has said the first dedication always goes to the mom. And I think the mother is such a powerful person in your life. And I shared this earlier as well with someone, and I said, I heard this. I said, when your mom is around, a child plays fearlessly, because
Yes.
they know that mom is around.
Yeah.
And I love what you said about your mom. You said she empowered you. And I think that is such a strong word, empower, because we all have the power to empower someone else.
Yes.
And how much do we really spend time to really think about empowering someone else? It's not about the role, it's not about the title. Anyone can empower anyone. So
Correct.
so in this day, if you are listening to our show, I would say that go out and empower someone, someone near and dear, or someone you meet, a stranger you meet on the street. But make sure that you give positive energy to people around you, so that they can proceed, and succeed in their life. I also love what you said about, really, it's truly to all the women in my life and your life. I started this organization, Women Leaders in Data and AI, WILDA, 3 years back, without knowing where it would go. But I feel like it's the biggest gift I've gotten in my life, because I've met so many amazing women who are my role models. And these women, I truly tell you, and I'm sincerely dedicating not only to these women, but these women I've seen who cheer for each other. They go to each conference and they meet each other and they hug each other as if they are like their best friends. They've known each other forever. And it's a small community of women in Wilda, but the kind of love they give to each other and support they give to each other is really heartwarming. I had a call last week, and CIO from a federal agency, and she said, Asha, the opportunities I've gotten in this, just because women come up and give opportunities, share opportunities with each other, which I would have never gotten otherwise. And it warms my heart, because, remember those days when people used to say women don't help each other? And
Yeah.
now here I'm like, all these women are coming together and helping each other and cheering for each other, and supporting each other. I think that's what we needed. We needed our, it's not a boys club or girls club, but it's really a place where, and we have allies in our organization, and we have allies who cheer for us, and we cheer for our allies. So I don't think it's about the gender anymore. It's about making sure that all genders come together to make sure that there are women who are there, and they hear our voices. They empower each other, and make things better for the world. So with that, I want to wish you a very, very happy Women's History Month, and I hope you continue to empower others. You do inspire me, Bharti. Every time I meet you, I love hearing your stories, and I love how you bring personal touch to everything you share. So thank you for being here.
Thank you, Asha. I really appreciate this. And you are inspirational. And I love being part of WILDA. It's been a fantastic journey. And it's our tribe. That's the way I see it. It's, a tribe that I can go to, that I can lean on. It's been fantastic. So happy Women's History Month. And this is great. Thank you.
And if you have any questions about our tribe, feel free to reach out to me or Bharti. We love CDO Magazine and Steve, and this collaboration has been always, always wonderful. So I want to actually congratulate Steve for hosting this Women Leaders series for CDO Magazine during the Women's History Month. I remember advancing parity and equity in digital world especially really is everybody's responsibility. It starts with a conversation. It's important to give the voice to the minorities and make sure that there is diversity where you are. I'm Asha Saxena, urging you to stay engaged, inspired, and committed to making a difference, especially in the world we live in, data and AI. Happy Women's History Month to all of you. Thank you.